Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep today into a December 2024 Google Ads newsletter full of juicy details, tests, glitches, even some industry drama. So if you are in digital marketing, e-commerce, or just curious about how online advertising is evolving, you are in the right place.
Yeah, this newsletter is like a peek behind the curtain. We get to see what Google's working on, what's working, what's not working, the friction points. It's really valuable for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, so let's unpack this thing. First up, the newsletter has data, Black Friday, Black Week data from ProfitMetrics.io. And the headline is, Black Friday itself is still king. Even with, a whole week of promotions, sales were up nearly 6% compared to last year. But ad spending jumped over 17%. What do you make of that?
Well, it makes you wonder
if
Black Friday is becoming just too expensive to be profitable, especially for smalling businesses. We're already seeing increased costs reflected in higher customer acquisition costs.
So maybe smaller businesses should be looking at, beyond Black Friday, like maybe Small Business Saturday or Cyber Monday.
Yeah, maybe diversifying your holiday shopping strategy could be the key to staying competitive.
I am loving how visual this newsletter is. It really is like we're getting a sneak peek at unreleased features, tons of screenshots, new ad formats, UI changes, they're testing. There's a text ad with a second line of text in a smaller font. Do you think that'll catch on?
I don't know. It's hard to say. On the one hand, it gives advertisers more space to work with, more real estate, but on the other hand, it could make the ads too cluttered, especially on mobile. So it really comes down to user experience. Will people find it helpful or annoying?
There are also screenshots of shopping ads on YouTube. And this is interesting, a new feedback system for YouTube ads where they actually ask users if the targeting is accurate.
Yeah, that's interesting. It could be a way for them to gather data and improve their algorithms. But it could also make users more aware of how much data is being collected about them. Kind of a double-edged sword.
Then there are a few cases of double ad placements.
Yeah.
The search results. I've seen that myself lately.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit aggressive.
Yeah, it definitely pushes the boundaries of what users will tolerate. So it's risky because if they alienate users with too many ads, people might start looking for alternatives.
Speaking of risky moves, the newsletter talks about Google's ongoing saga with the DMA, the Digital Markets Act. That whole thing about making sure Google doesn't have an unfair advantage. It seems like they ran a hotel test in Europe where they removed certain hotel features from their search results.
Yeah, the hotel test. It was their way of demonstrating what they think would be the consequences, the negative consequences of stricter regulations, they argued. That removing these features would actually hurt both users and businesses.
The newsletter says, user satisfaction definitely dipped during the test. People had trouble finding hotels. Traffic to hotel websites dropped. But here's the thing. Traffic to intermediary sites, like booking platforms, stayed about the same.
Right, and that's the heart of their argument. Google claims that these intermediary sites already benefit from changes they made to comply with the DMA, so removing hotel features would just hurt hotels and wouldn't actually benefit users.
It's a mess. All right, let's move on to privacy and policy updates. First up, Google's rolling out a new policy for dating and companionship ads in March 2025.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, given the sensitive nature of that category, the policy requires advertisers to be certified by Google, bans ads that promote underage dating exploitative services or misrepresent the target audience. So it's a step towards a safer online environment, I think.
They're also updating their personalized advertising policy. They're saying it'll be clear, easier to read.
Okay, yeah. I mean, anything improves transparency. It's a good thing. Users have a right to understand how their data is being used to target them with ads. Okay,
here's one that sparked some debate. Google's now allowing advertisers to use IP addresses for targeting.
That is a significant shift. On one hand, using IP addresses allows for more targeted advertising, which can be good, for businesses and users who want to see relevant ads. But on the other hand, it raises some concerns about user privacy, data security. It's a classic trade-off between personalization and privacy.
There's also a mention of errors popping up in audience segments for demand gen campaigns. It looks like it's a glitch on Google's end. They say they're working on a fix.
Yeah, glitches happen in a system this complex. It's good that they're aware of it and addressing it, but it is a good reminder for advertisers to keep an eye on their campaigns in case there are unexpected changes.
Now for something a bit more fun. Google is expanding Product Studio You know their AI-powered tool for creating product images to 15 new countries.
That's huge. High-quality product images are crucial for online sales, and Product Studio can be a game changer for businesses that don't have the resources to hire, professional designers.
Yeah, it really levels the playing field.
Yeah.
And they're also easing up on the language policy for product feeds. So you don't have to have your product feed in the same language as your website.
It's a very practical change, global e-commerce. This
Right.
gives businesses more flexibility.
While still making sure customers have a smooth checkout experience.
There's also the return of Tag Assistant, which helps with website tagging.
Oh, yeah. Tag Assistant is a lifesaver when it comes to Millie. Troubleshooting tagging issues,
Yeah.
especially if you're not super tech savvy.
And Shopify is making a big move. They're expanding their ad tool to all merchants, meaning they can buy ads on Google, Meta, directly through Shopify.
Oh, wow, that is bold. Shopify's really positioning themselves as a one-stop shop for e-commerce businesses. So this ad tool could be a big selling point for them. It'll be interesting to see how it impacts the competition. And then there's, the elephant in the room, Google's push towards Performance Max campaigns, PMax. I mean, this newsletter is overflowing with mentions of PMax.
Well, Google is all in on PMax, and for good reason. It leverages AI, automation to optimize campaigns across multiple channels, and it saves advertisers time, effort. But there are also, some concerns about transparency, control with PMax.
The newsletter talks about an auto-toggle risk to broad match when switching to conversion-based bidding in PMax. What does that even mean?
It means there's a risk that when you switch to conversion-based bidding, your campaign could automatically shift to broad match targeting without you realizing it, and that could lead to your ads being shown for irrelevant searches. You could waste your budget.
So even with AI and automation, you've got to be paying attention.
Absolutely. Automation is a powerful tool, but it's not a set-it-and-forget-it solution. You need to understand how it works, be involved in managing your campaigns.
Before we move on to part 2, I'm curious, what's standing out to you from this deep dive so far?
It's amazing to me to see how quickly things are changing in Google Ads. New features, policies, even controversies. It's a reminder that advertisers need to stay informed, adapt, and be willing to experiment.
Yeah, it's definitely a wild ride.
Okay.
We'll get to a quick break, and we'll be back with more from this jam-packed Google Ads newsletter.
Yeah, it is wild. And speaking of keeping up, the newsletter goes into Looker Studio, Google's data visualization platform. Looks like a bunch of updates there.
Yeah, tons of stuff about Looker Studio, new connectors, filtering options, enhanced scorecard charts, even a new, okay, this is a new one, an inverted triangle funnel chart style. What is an inverted triangle funnel chart? And why? Why would we use it?
Okay, so think of a Churka, a traditional funnel chart,
Right.
visualizing a process that narrows down in stages, like a sales funnel. You start with a lot of leads, end up with fewer customers. An inverted triangle funnel chart, it flips that concept, widest part at the bottom, so it's good for visualizing things like customer retention, loyalty programs, where you're actually
Trying to expand the base.
Got me?
Oh, okay. It's about choosing the right visual to tell the story you want to tell with your data.
Exactly. And these Looker Studio updates, they give advertisers more tools to do just that. It's all about getting deeper insights from your data and using them to optimize campaigns.
The newsletter also highlights some new features in Google AI's image editor you can use. Reference images to guide the style, subject, composition of your images. And there's a generate more like this feature that creates variations of an image.
That's cool. It's almost like having an AI design assistant. So this could be really helpful for smaller businesses. The ones that can't afford to hire professional designers.
Yeah, it's really leveling the playing field. Okay, let's talk about some issues that the newsletter flagged first. A Google Ads scripts error, a permission denied error. It's causing some problems for users.
Sounds like a bug. On Google's end, for those who don't know, Google Ads scripts. It's a way to automate tasks in your account, saves you time, effort. So this error is probably disrupting workflows for some advertisers.
Not good. I'm sure they're working on it. But it's never fun when these glitches pop up. Another issue the newsletter mentions is Google experimenting with double ad placements for some advertisers. We talked about this before, but I'm curious what your thoughts are from a user's perspective.
I think it really depends on how it's done. If the ads are relevant, well-designed, it might not be a big deal.
If they're intrusive, irrelevant, yeah, that could be a problem. it could lead to ad fatigue. Users already have very limited patience for disruptive ads.
No one wants to be bombarded. Okay, wrap up this part with a look at policy updates. The newsletter mentions updates related to financial products and services, healthcare and medicines, even their policies on abusing the ad network.
Sounds like Google's trying to be more
Right.
directive about regulating industries where there's more risk. Misleading or harmful content, important for things like financial services, healthcare.
People need to trust the information they're seeing, especially when it comes to health, finances. One update that I thought was interesting is the new requirement for cryptocurrency advertisers in the UK. Starting January 2025, they'll need to be registered with the Financial Conduct Authority and certified by Google.
So, stricter regulations for
DOADs.
in the UK seems like a necessary step.
I think so. I mean, given the volatility, the potential for scams in the crypto market, it's about protecting consumers, ensuring transparency.
The newsletter also mentions
And snappy as
some clarifications
no.
to their healthcare and medicines policy, trying to provide clearer guidelines for advertisers, especially about what counts as a serious violation.
Good to see them taking steps to prevent the spread of misinformation when it comes to health. That's important.
So before we jump into the final part
Yeah.
of this deep dive, I want to hear from you, the listener. What has surprised you the most? What's sticking out
Yeah.
in your mind? Let us know. Okay, we are back for the final part of our Google Ads deep dive. We've covered a lot, but there's one more area we need to talk about: Google search.
Yeah. Google search. It's there. Bread and butter. Right. It's interesting to see how they're always changing it. The search results page, I mean, trying to improve the user experience, but also, maximize ad revenue.
The newsletter had a few interesting things about search. Remember the where to buy card? Looks like they're testing that in search results now.
Yeah, that's smart. It makes shopping even easier right within search, which is good for users and businesses, especially local businesses. Think about it. You search for a product and you see a list of stores nearby where you can buy it.
There's also a screenshot of a search results page where, get this, users can turn off personalization. Makes you think, how much are our search results tailored to us? And what does neutral search result even look like anymore?
It's a good question. I mean, algorithms, personalization, they have a huge impact on what we see online. I think it's really important for users to understand that and have some control over it. So being able to turn off personalization, even just for one search, it's a good thing.
The newsletter also mentioned a new brand report in Google Ads for all the brand advertisers out there.
Yeah, that looks useful. It brings together all the reach and frequency data from your campaigns into one dashboard so you can see how your brand is doing and find any gaps or opportunities.
And there's that PMAX setting. Again, the one that excludes brand terms from performance VAX, but not from shopping campaigns. It keeps coming up.
Well, it shows that Google's still trying to find the balance between automation and control. They want people to use PMAX, but they also know advertisers need some control, some customization. It's a work in progress, I guess.
Last but not least, Brainlands haven't felt lost in the world of merch.
Yeah.
Google Merchant Center.
They're adding
A glossary section.
That's great. I mean, clear definitions are so important. In a field like this, where things are always changing.
Well, we did it. Unpack this newsletter from top to bottom. Black Friday trends, new ad formats, policies, AI tools, the future of search. What's your big takeaway from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is online advertising. It's not standing still. It's changing all the time. So if you want to succeed, I gotta embrace change. Be willing to experiment.
Never stop learning.
I could not agree more. This newsletter was a great look at how things are evolving, the trends, the challenges, the opportunities that are shaping the future of advertising. Online advertising, I mean.
And remember, this is just a moment in time.
Right.
Things will probably look totally different in a few months.
That's the exciting part. So keep your eyes open, your ears to the ground, and your minds engaged. Thank you so much for joining us for this Google Ads deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the resources we talked about. And until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.